This is a short-dressed man, Lawrence, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This is Steve Bowtie Bryant here. Back in the 90s, I was a pro wrestling photographer for the South, and I released what might have been one of the original sets of indie trading cards. I ran across some of these original sets. They were up in Randall Fanning's attic all this time. PG-13 rookie card, Ricky Morton, George Weingroff as the Sheik, Chris Champion, Reno Riggins, Billy Montana, Gary Valiant, the Scorpion, the Medic, Rick Reynolds, Jeff Daniels, Mephisto and Dante, Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, Marcus Woodrow, Quinton Quarisma, Little Farmer John. If you'd like an opportunity to get these cards, contact me now. You can get them for only $49.99. Contact me at Steve Bowtie Bryant at iCloud.com. Get your set now while supplies last.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. And I'm here, as always, with my brother from the same father and mother, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street. What's up, Sheik? How you doing?
Man, I'm just trying to thaw out, brother. It's a cold spell, but I'm hoping since I brought some charisma with me, we can heat this place up.
Oh, yeah, we're going to heat it up all right, and that's with our one and only territory wrestling guru and co-host with the Mo-host, Quinton Quarisma. What's up, Quinton? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. How y'all doing, guys?
We're doing good, man.
Yeah, I've been known to get a lot of heat with people, mostly the boys and the bookers.
Well, good, man. You know, as long as it's not go away heat, it's just, you know, stand your ground heat. Nothing wrong with that. So,
is it good heat?
I don't know, man. I've been known to ruffle some feathers.
little ornery.
Yeah, well, you know.
I think that's how I like my Quinton. Ornery. Yeah.
I can't imagine any wrestler ever ruffling feathers.
I know.
No, yeah. This never happens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so two things I want to say here. First, speaking of ornery, we lost one of the most ornery dadgum wrestlers of all time, and just a great person. I got to know him a little bit last year, and man, what a cool guy. And we lost him just the other day. He had finished his battle with cancer, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But Black Bart, Rick Harris, you know, your whole family's in our prayers, and we hope y'all are doing okay, and we want to send out our condolences to them. If you were a fan of Black Bart, you know, go check out, you know, all of his matches. That's what I did when I heard about it, and it was really cool to see that. And I highly recommend the old Desperados stuff from WCW when they were looking for Stan Hansen. So
that's good stuff. I saw some of that recently.
Yeah, Quinton and I were just talking about that the other night. So anyway, rest in peace, Black Bart. So the other thing I want to talk about is obviously today's episode. So today, I think, is going to be a great episode. You know, last week we had our Ask GMBMPW Anything. And what's really funny is we got almost as many questions after the show already came out, Brad. But anyway, we appreciate you either way, brother. We'll get to them down the line. It may not be soon.
We got them for next time.
Yeah, we'll got them for next time. We're building them for next time. So we'll keep those and keep them, you know, saved, and we'll make sure and answer those. The next Ask GMBMPW Anything. But today, again, like I said, we have the very cool episode with Sharp Dress Man Lawrence, man. So, Quinton, are you fired up about Lawrence today?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to hear bits of his story that I don't know about. And I know a lot of it. But yeah, I'm just ready to and let everybody else get out and hear, you know, his story. He's been around for a very long time. So I think, you know, he's one of those guys that story needs to be told.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's funny, Jared, how many times would you say off the top of your head that Lawrence's name has been brought up on this show?
Oh my goodness! I was thinking that when I first heard we're gonna. I bet we've what number show we on with it?
Like 78 or so.
let's say at least 50 episodes have mentions of him in it, at least, if not 60 or so. So I mean that's how much he's come up and people talked about him. And when somebody's mentioned that many times, that the boys want to talk about him and get his story out there. So we're going to do that too.
Yeah. I think that'll be cool. And obviously it's all centered around Lawrence's last stand. Of course, they had their match on December 21st in Ashland City for one of our great sponsors, CHW. I heard great things about the match. I can't wait to hear Lawrence's take on it. Ben Jordan was sending me pictures as it was happening. And I mean, it was just, it looked like they did a really cool thing for Lawrence and it was cool. And obviously we had Mikey on a previous episode to talk about what he was going to do to Lawrence, but now we're going to get to hear what he did to Lawrence and maybe what Lawrence did to him. So, with that being said, can't wait to get to him. But before that, Quinton, I think we need that segment that has quickly become one of the most popular points of our episodes.
This week in wrestling history with Quinton Quarisma.
All right, guys. We're going to go... This segment this week is going to be January 22nd, 1972. And before I get into this, I went a little different on this one. I'm really, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, fascinated, I guess, with wrestling wars. I did, especially back in the territory days. Something about them just really intrigued me. The first one I ever heard about was in the early, 92 or so. I heard about the one from 1976 in Nashville with Nick Gulas when Fez and Danny Davis and the other guy, my mind went blank. Anyway, they came into Nashville, tried to run opposites against, in Nashville, Chattanooga, against Gulas. And after I found out, that's when I started realizing, whoa, there's, there were wars for promotion territory and stuff. And then the internet come on and but this one right here, I've heard about through the years, and it really intrigued me. And I went back and did some research on it because it was just so fascinating. But we're going to go. I'm going to go with the main promotion that ran this town, and it's Detroit, Michigan. Like I said, it's January 22nd, 1972. And this was big time wrestling. This was the Sheik's promotion. That was their area. That was their territory. They ran Cobo Hall that night.
Nice.
Okay. And the first match is the Executioner defeated Bobby Blaine. Everything I looked up, everything pointed to Don Lewin. The Executioner as being Don Lewin, which was Mark Lewin's brother. So,
okay.
That's what everything I found. I did my research. So not everything's, correct. So I'm hoping what I am saying is correct, but that's what I have found.
Okay.
So the second match is Jess Ortega defeated the Zebra Kid. Now, this Zebra Kid was a guy named Cowboy Parker who wrestled for Gulas, actually was one of the main stars for Thez in the Gulas War, Thez-Gulas War. Cowboy Parker. So he had a hood. He was called the Zebra Kid. And then we have the third match. Lou Klein, which was by this time, he was an old timer, real old timer. I think he started in maybe the late 40s. And he defeated Gene. I hope I pronounced this right. Marhin. I guess I don't know how to pronounce some of these names. I do not know how to pronounce, so just forgive me. Then we go to the fourth match. It's Tony Bellargoni. I guess that's how you pronounce it. He defeated the Hells Angels #1, which was Ron Dupree. And a little interesting thing, we'll see. There's always a thing about the Hells Angels, Chain Gang. There's different variations of them. In the next card, you'll see something interesting about that. This being Ron Dupree is Hells Angel #1. Then the fifth match is Gino Brito defeated Tim Brooks. Killer Tim Brooks, I think, has always been underrated. And Gino Brito, he's the one that big star in Canada. They say he trained Abdul the Butcher, Dino Bravo, people like that.
Wow.
Okay, then we'll go match number 6. Hans Schmidt defeated Sonny King. Hans Schmidt was a big time star in the 50s on that Dumont wrestling Dumont's channel, TV station, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
In the 50s, he was one of the top wrestling stars for that, the wrestling at the Marigold out of Chicago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did the German gimmick, and he was actually Canadian. But yeah, he made a lot of money. He was one of that Dumont network, man. It made the stars back then. So he was like one of the top heels off from that. Then everybody knows, well, not everybody, but Sonny King. He was known more for his managing than it was his wrestling. He did have good runs in like Florida and other places, but he was known, especially like the Gulas territory, as the manager of the Mongolian Stomper in the 70s. He did, and he was bald. And when Kojak, the TV show, got famous, he used to do the lollipop like Kojak. So
nice.
I know this is useful information.
Yeah, of course it is.
So then we go 7th match is Ben Justice against Don Serrano. I remember Serrano. He actually was a mid-card guy for the Blue Thez promotion here in Nashville. Then we go to the 8th match. The Student defeated Emile Dupree, and the Student was, of course, George the Animal Steele. And I think Emile Dupree wasn't that. I think he's the dad of the Dupree that was in WWE in the 2000s.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha. Rene Dupree.
Yeah, I think that's his dad. I think.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. And
then we go to the 9th match. We got, and this was not a TV taping, people. This is what the Sheik did when opposition come in. He would pack his cards. So the 9th match was Bulldog Brower defeated Dewey Robertson, which everybody knows Dewey Robertson became the missing link.
Oh, yeah.
And some people get Bulldog Brower mixed up with Bulldog Bob Brown. Totally different person.
Yeah.
And 10th match, we got Bobo Brazil and Flying Fred Curry defeated Johnny Valentine and Ernie Ladd by DQ.
Nice.
So then we go to the 11th match.
Golly.
Yeah, I know. Tony Marino and Danny Hodge defeated the Fabulous Kangaroos. And this version of the Kangaroos was Costello and Kent. So, and then we go to the main event. Thank goodness. Tex McKenzie and Wild Bill Curry versus Pampero Firpo and the Sheik. It ended in a double DQ. So that's 12 matches.
Jimmy Powell's dad there too, Tex McKenzie.
So that's and that's 12 matches, and 3 of them are tags.
Wow,
that's crazy.
A lot of payday there.
Yeah, that's what the research I was talking about how this was a war for the territory, and you know who was who tried to run opposition against him?
Vern, maybe?
No. Nope.
I don't.
It was Dick the Bruiser.
Oh, of course. That makes sense.
So, 71, Dick the Bruiser decided he's going to run. He's going to try to take over Detroit. And everything I've read, there was no reason or rhyme to it. There was no like bad heat. From what all the stuff I've read, and some people said he thought he could go in there and take over the town and have another major market town, and he would have the backing of the NWA since Bruiser and Sam Mushnick were, he worked with Sam. He was one of Sam's top draws for years in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And some people say he thinks that he thought that Mushnick would go with him instead of staying with the Sheik, and it didn't happen.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
okay.
It was like I think 71 to 70, early 74, late 73, and they both drew houses on the same nights. They said that Sheik would do 10,000, 12,000, and then on the same night like 2-3 miles down the road, Bruiser would do like 6,000 to 8,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and it was crazy. So, like I said, this is January 22nd, 1972. This is Detroit, Michigan. This is Bruiser's WWA, and he was down the road like 2 or 3 miles at the Olympia.
Okay.
Smaller venue. So his first match was Prince Pullins defeated Jim Zircon. I remember Prince Pullins. Was a mainstay around that around Bruiser area. Around the Jim Zircon, I have no idea who he is. Then the second match, we have a ladies match. Donna Lemke defeated Mary Jane Mull. So,
any Mary Jane Mull fans out there?
I know a lot of Mary Jane fans, but I don't know about Mary Jane Mull fans.
Right, yeah. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now, this one is the one I said was going to be interesting. The third match is the Chain Gang defeated the Professor and Jim Alexi. Okay. Now, this Chain Gang, like I said, there was the Hells Angels and Chain Gang, they interact. They'd switch up the names, switch up the people. This version of the Chain Gang was Chris Colt and Ken Dillinger. Now, Chris Colt, and if you go back on the other card, Ron Dupree were the Hells Angels and the Comancheros, I guess, they in Arizona. And supposedly lovers for years.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. That's why the name was sticking out. Yeah.
So this really, it was odd to see them working two different I guess one was in one promotion, one was the other at the time. They wasn't doing it together, but one was called the Hells Angels in one promotion, and the other was called the Chain Gang in the other one. So that was really, and then the Professor. Now this is where I've researched this way too much. I've researched for like a couple hours. I know I should have did it, but that's just me. Okay, so Wrestling Data says that the Professor was Doug Lindsay. Okay, now Cage Match doesn't have Doug Gilbert as the Professor. And then I looked. The Professor worked on a card for Bruiser, like in Fort Wayne or somewhere. Now, Doug Gilbert, on the same night, it was in February, same night, was working for Champion Wrestling of Florida down at the Armory in Tampa in a tag match. And I was thinking, and then he was in, and the night before this card, now the night after, Doug Gilbert was in Houston for Bosch. So I don't think, just by looking at it, I don't think this Professor was Doug Gilbert. I just can't see him working in between Houston for Fort Wayne and then working maybe Detroit, but not flying back and forth to Houston it just don't add up. So I just don't think I think it was not Doug Gilbert at this night. So
yeah, that night, yeah.
So I mean, he might have worked up there for Bruiser, maybe in Indianapolis, but I don't think he was doing this Detroit. So
Gotcha.
All right, and then we go to, and he was a big NWA guy too. So
okay.
So we go to the fourth match. We have Moose Cholak defeated Nikolai Volkov. So that was was he still a? I wonder, was he still a? What was the
Bito and Mito or Bato or Bapo or whatever, the Mongolians or something? Yeah,
the Mongol wouldn't. So I'm wondering if he did this. If he, I don't know. I didn't look that up. I didn't think about it.
I know Bill Eadie was, and I know he was, and a few others.
Yeah. Then we have the fifth match. Billy Red Cloud defeated Dr. Bill Miller.
Yeah.
Bill Miller.
Okay.
I looked at Billy Red Cloud. He was over big time in the 60s and early 70s.
Nice.
And so then we go to the sixth match. This is a WWA World Tag Team title match. Dick the Bruiser and Sailor Art Thomas defeated the Blackjacks. And the Blackjacks, they defeated them by DQ. The Blackjacks were the champions. I couldn't find anything about Heenan being with them, but since it's a Bruiser show and it's the Blackjacks, I'm sure Bobby Heenan was their manager.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That was, and by this time, Sailor Art Thomas and, Dick the Bruiser also, they both had been wrestling for a long time.
Yeah.
Sailor Art Thomas Thomas was one of the first big muscle, not black wrestlers, but muscle men back in the late 50s. He was jacked.
Yeah.
This was toward the end of his, I guess, probably really full time, because he had to be old by then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know, ramble on again. Here we go. Seventh match is Baron von Raschke defeated Andrei Rusinov in a WWA World Title match. Baron von Raschke was the champion. Okay, I looked to see if it was DQ or anything like that, but I'm thinking it might have been a pinfall because it wasn't Andre the Giant yet.
Mm.
He wasn't under Vince. He wasn't with Vince Senior yet. He hadn't went because he changed his name. Vince Senior changed his name to Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
So he was still Andre Rusimov or Monster Rusimov, and was it Jean Pierre or something, whatever that was, up in Canada. So I'm thinking he might have pinned him. So,
yeah. Wow.
So that
that
was,
would be cool. That would be time. That would be a wild time.
That's a rare pin, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the next year, 73, I think is when he went to Vince Senior, changed his name.
Yeah.
And then the rest was he didn't get beat. He got slammed a lot, but he didn't get beat though.
You're gonna be me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So that's people look at it. If you're interested, I'll ramble a lot about this, but like I say, if you like promotional wars, check that out, because that like I said, they were usually you don't have two companies, one excels and one doesn't.
Yeah,
they both did good houses for a long time.
That's cool.
So,
that's crazy too. Yeah.
Check that out if you're a history buff like me. All right, so this last one, and I'm going over my time limit here, but this third and last one, I kind of did this one for Jimmy.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to January 20th, 1980, Georgetown, Kentucky. This is a promotion ran by Dale Mann.
Oh, of course. Nice.
All right. So we got the first match of the night. We got Chuck Connors versus the Bounty Hunter.
Nice.
I don't know if this was one of the Novak brothers or if this was a Dale Mann Bounty Hunter. I don't know which one it was. So
it could be both.
Exactly. You never know.
Yeah.
So I know one of the Novak brothers was still wrestling in 80. So you never know with Dale Mann.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get. You see it on the card. You're just going to have to flip a coin on it. So
Right.
And so the next match, we have a women's match, Jan Tucker versus Wild Country Girl.
Okay. So, Wild Country Girl or anybody?
That's one of those. It's it's a Dale Mann person, so it could have been any female up there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Then we got in the next match, we have intern number 1 against Bruce Lee.
Oh man. Chuck Connors, Bruce Lee. God, you gotta love it.
I thought you'd get a kick out of this one.
Yeah.
I don't know who intern number 1 is. It could be a million people.
Sure.
And Bruce Lee probably could be a million people. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe not even Asian, right?
I'm thinking Georgetown, Kentucky. And Dale Mann's out of Jamestown, Kentucky. In 1980, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I'm betting it's not.
That's funny. Oh man.
So who knows? In the next match, we got Mr. TNT Dale Mann versus King Joey Cagle.
Oh,
and so a lot of people around here know Joey Cagle. He basically finished up his career here in the Middle Tennessee area. Yeah. He was toward the end there, he was running buddies with Peter R. Miller. They ran a lot the last few years. He was in the business. So,
little known fact about Joey Cagle, he invented a very popular, exercise for women as well, I heard.
Oh my gosh!
Am I wrong? Is that the wrong one? Okay, my bad.
I think that might be the wrong one. I think.
My bad. Sorry.
But Cagle, he worked a lot of places. Worked up in Vancouver a lot. So there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. Early '80s Vancouver, Joey Cagle.
Nice. I'll check him out.
And then this is kind of out of nowhere. I guess you had to be following along with the weekly cards, but this is just the advertisement I'm reading here.
Yeah.
It's from the newspaper. Second round of the Invitational Tournament. So I don't know what it was for. It was for a belt or what, but that's all it said.
Yeah.
It was Danny Fargo versus Crazy Bobby Fulton.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Bobby Fulton was working heel up there at this time.
Dylan Hines Sr. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. He worked, I think this is right after he left Goulas. Or was maybe working both, maybe, at the time.
Gotcha. Very
he
cool.
was Bob Fulton. So, and he was heel up there. So that was, that's a pretty neat little thing there. And then the main event, first time ever, 12 men, Texas Tornado Tag Team Last Man wins $200.
Nice.
So, is there 12 men on this card? Let's see.
I was trying to count on here.
5, 6. There's 8.
Not counting the women.
Not counting the women, there's 8 guys. So, I guess there were some other guys that just was booked for the 12-man Texas Tornado Tag Team Last Man Wins match.
Wow. Unless, if it was like a Royal Rumble, he could put people out and bring them back, you know, and under a hood and stuff.
Yeah, might know who actually the intern number 1 was. He might have been Joe Smith, too.
Bubba Perry? No, Sunny Street?
Yeah.
Uncle Sonny?
Yeah. So that was Delman's card in Georgetown, Kentucky on January 20th, 1980.
That was awesome. I like that, man. Thanks for throwing that one in.
I went longer than usual, but but when I was thinking I was thinking about doing Bruiser, and I was like, man, I'm gonna do the promotional war. So, I was like, they ran on the same night, so I was like, that fits it perfect. A little long with the Sheik's 900 matches he would put on, but
Yeah, no, that was good, brother. I enjoyed that. Thank you for doing that, as always.
And this has been
This Week in Wrestling History with Quinton Quarisma.
All right. Thank you so much for that awesome This Week in Wrestling History, Quinton. As always, we greatly appreciate it. But boys, I'm ready to get a sharp-dressed man on the show. What are you thinking?
Let's do it, man.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages with the sharp-dressed man, Lawrence, on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This is Kroll, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling with Jimmy Street and Jarrett the Plastic Sheik. Be sure to like, subscribe, and view all of our USWO and Saw Wrestling content at Nashville Wrestling Network, exclusively on YouTube.
Woo, mister, this is Handsome Jimmy, professional wrestler, the Boogie Woogie Man. Come on, people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss this one. It's Wrestling Talk with Mayor McCall. Yes, baby, be there or be square. Oh, yeah, ha, 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 ha.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Well, stop by Captain's Corner, where you can get autographed photos, cards, magazines, and figures from all of your favorite wrestling superstars of the past, present, and future. You'll also be able to participate in live signings in the weeks and months to come. Make sure to stop by Captain's Corner on Facebook and give us a holler. Remember, cheers to the working man.
All right, we are back with more with Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. Of course, I've got the Sheik and Quinton with me today, but most importantly, we have a very sharp-dressed man with us, gentlemen. We have the one and only sharp-dressed man, Lawrence. Lawrence, welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm glad to be on here.
Yeah, man.
It's a pleasure, awesome. Sir.
Yeah, definitely. It's very cool to have you, and you've actually, had a fresh retirement. Before we get to that, though, how you doing? You doing all right?
Oh, I'm doing great. Enjoying retirement.
Yeah. Well, okay. So obviously the last interview that we did was with Mikey Dunn, and he was the gentleman that wrestled you in your retirement match, man. Tell everybody about it. How did it go?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better night. Packed house. Mikey Dunn, he's pretty tough, but I'm a little tougher. So, I had to prove to him that, he's not the top dog.
That's awesome. That's
great,
you look
man.
good, bro. You look good. I love the purple shirt and everything, man. It was a classy look,
Yeah, thank you. I tried to go out in style,
Yeah.
Wanted to change it up a little bit,
Yeah.
It felt right.
Yeah, it did. And purple, they say that's like a royal color, so that's kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah. A crown royal color, but maybe that. But anyway, but no, man, I mean, we were happy to be involved with that. When I was looking through things, I was like, man, this retirement match is going to line up perfectly with some episodes. So we thought we would do a little 2-parter. And I feel like I enjoyed the Mikey Dunn episode, but obviously, the retirement was wrapped around you basically with Lawrence's last stand. But it looked like CHW packed the place for you. Obviously, your name packed the place. Let's just be honest here. But CHW had a good crowd, a good building. Aaron Camaro and the Greens, they do some cool stuff, man.
Oh, they are definitely, in the top 3 right now of, promoting local professional wrestling.
Yeah.
They're actually promoting it. The people are coming to watch it.
God forbid, right?
Yes. But they've been doing good before me. I mean, every time they run a show, it's been standing room only.
That's awesome. Yeah.
To me, that's an accomplishment, by itself, but they get out and they do the leg work, and Aaron Camaro's telling great stories, and, I highly recommend that show, to everybody.
Yeah, definitely check them out. They're running, I think it's once a month every, and they've got a show coming up January 25th in Ashland City. It looks like there's going to be a 30-man rumble, so that's very cool. You'll hear more about that later on in the show. But to go ahead and get this ball rolling, Mr. Sharp Dress Man, I'm going to pass it off to my brother from the same father and mother, the Plastic Sheik. Take it away, Sheik.
All right, Lawrence. So first question I'd like to ask everybody, this is going to give the listeners and us a view into you and to see your influences in wrestling. If you had a Mount Rushmore, like 4 or 5 names in the wrestling business that influenced you or you like to watch or whatever, who would those people be?
Okay, well, I have to go old school. I'll start off with Tojo Yamamoto. He was a personal friend of my grandfather's, and, he was mean, so... I have to put him in the list. Gypsy Joe, of course, another tough man. Traveling up and down the roads with him, great dude. He worked hard and, gave me a passion for it because, he beat people up. Then I went to Ric Flair. Flair took a world heavyweight title. He traveled all over the world with it, from Texas to Memphis to, he went everywhere. He made that title mean something.
Yeah.
So, he's definitely a journeyman.
Yeah.
When we come down, Jerry Lawler was a big influence because I was a big Memphis guy.
Yeah.
Lawler, put on some 5-star matches and packed out some houses. And then Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert because, just the legacy and his father's name. And then, him transitioning over to do the Fabs, but then taking off on his own to become Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah.
That would be my 5.
Yeah, we talk about all the time, what would Eddie Gilbert be doing right now, that kind of thing. So,
yes. I mean, I could see him behind the scenes and, helping with a major company.
Yeah.
He had a great mind for the business.
Oh, completely. Yeah, that's a good one, man. What'd you think, Sheik?
I thought it was a great list. I knew, we're going to get some Tennessee influences, and that's a good thing. We get them out of most of our guests, but it's a great list and hard to argue with it.
Hard to argue. I agree. That's a consistent list too, man. A lot of those names pop up. Well, all right, Sheik. Thank you for that. The Mount Rushmore was awesome. Now we're going to pivot back to Lawrence. Lawrence, I like starting at the start, man. Tell us about your younger days. Like, where were you born? Where are you from, man?
So I was born in Paducah, Kentucky. McCracken County.
Yeah.
I had some intestinal problems when I was a child, when I was a baby. So my grandparents adopted me.
Gotcha.
And I was 32 days old when I was adopted.
Wow.
So I moved with them to Nashville. I had to have a major surgery, which the adoption was part of it to get put on the insurance.
Yeah.
So I could have this big surgery. And after that, you know, they raised me to what I am today. And my grandfather was a big wrestling person. He loved wrestling.
Yeah.
So I have a picture from a Polaroid when I was a child, and I don't even remember this, but we were at the Hippodrome.
Ooh.
This was probably one of the last 2 or 3 shows they had at the Hippodrome.
Man.
And Jackie Fargo was in the ring with Tojo Yamamoto.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of grew up into loving wrestling because he always watched it, and it was just kind of, you know, a thing we could do together.
Yeah.
So from there, you know, it was pretty much I grew up in Nashville, wound up going to Antioch High School, graduated from Antioch. But before I graduated, I was already training to be a wrestler.
Nice.
All right, Lawrence. So you said you were still in high school, so you started training. So tell us about how you met the person that trained you, and actually who the person was, and you know how did that come about, and where did you train, and you know just the whole thing of getting started in the training part.
So Tojo Yamamoto was friends with my grandfather. They used to go to Lorenzo's restaurant down on Knoxville Pike.
Nice.
And this was before I don't remember none of this. So they have Polaroid pictures of all that. Well, Tojo was messing around with a lady that was my grandmother's friend. And I would mow that woman's grass quite often. Well, my grandfather came in and said, "Hey, you need to get down the road, mow that woman's grass." And she said she wants it mowed. So I grabbed the mower. I take off down there. I look. I'm like, okay, I done mowed this like 2 days ago. What's going on? So I go inside and I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. Said I need to mow your grass." She said, "Oh, come on in." Well, Tojo was sitting on her couch. And as embarrassed as I am to say this, I looked at him and asked him, "Does he know who he is?" You know.
Do you know who you are?
Do you know who you are? So he laughed with his funny little round hat on, and he stood up and shook my hand, and I kind of got to talking to him a little bit, you know, about wrestling and everything. I told him, I said I wanted to be a wrestler, and I talked him into giving me a look, because when we were younger, we did a lot of backyard wrestling on mattresses and stuff, so we knew how to take a lot of the bumps. You know, we knew how to do the moves.
Yeah.
We just didn't have the psychology.
Gotcha.
So he offered to take me to the fairgrounds and get me in the ring and see what I could do. Well, he beat the living shit out of me. I mean, he literally beat the living crap out of me. And my grandfather told him to beat the crap out of me because he didn't want me to be a wrestler.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he told me, he said, "I tell you what, next Sunday morning, you meet me here."
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I went home. I'm beat. I'm bruised. Well, I went back. I'm stupid. I go back. And he looks at me and says, you came back? I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Okay." So he beat me up again. He said, "Okay, you come back next week." So I come back next week. And he just looked at me and he said, "You're not going to quit." I said, "No, sir. I don't quit."
Yeah.
So he said, "We're not going to train. I will talk to your grandfather and I'm going to introduce you to somebody." So he brought Gypsy Joe to our house.
Yeah.
So Joe sat down and ate dinner with us and talked to my grandparents. And
another one then, right?
Sir?
I said, you got beat. You start out getting beat up by one, then hand you over to another guy's going to beat you up.
He sure did. He handed me over to another one.
He's like, "I cannot do it right," apparently.
And, you know, pretty much from there, Joe just started taking me different places. I think the first place we went was Estill Springs.
Gotcha.
For Clara Ferguson. I think they nicknamed her Miss Goofy.
Okay.
And we worked for $2 and a hot dog. That was our payoff.
Yeah.
But I got in there and I learned, you know, basically how to get beat up. And then Joe just started taking me different places. And I went to Kentucky several times for Shelby Adcock. We went down there a lot.
Yeah.
Because Joe got good paydays, and I had a car.
Yeah. Perfect combo, man. Perfect combo.
You know.
Do you remember who some of your first matches was against?
You know, I don't even know who they were.
Really?
Honestly, because they just put me in there with random people.
Okay.
That I did not even know. At the time,
can we say like an intern or a medic or something like that? You know?
yeah, it was something like that. I mean, you know, it was just random different people that I had no clue about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm this little skinny kid in, you know, tights I bought from Seasons at a sporting goods store.
Yep.
You know, and some wrestling shoes. And that's pretty much how he was teaching me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, just get in there with green guys. Get in there with green guys. And, you know, I learned a lot from doing that. But back then, Jamie Dundee was down there. Joe was working with Jamie a lot. There might have been a Moondog down there. I know Billy Travis came in down there a few times.
Nice.
There were some different guys, you know, that was coming in from Memphis because it was, they would run on Thursdays.
Right. It was an off night. Right.
Yeah. So Morgantown, Central City, Beaver Dam, they ran like a little loop right there.
Yeah.
So we would go down there, you know, every night.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Willie Pauls and your Shelby Adcocks and all them, right? Didn't they run all in that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I love that. I love that. I've learned so much about that through this podcast. It's a blessing, man. It really is. I didn't mean to cut you off, though. Keep going, bro.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, you know, a lot of people run loops back then. So
yeah, right.
You know,
and I love that y'all had your own loop. You know what I'm saying? So like you, even if you weren't in the Memphis loop, the Columbia guys and those Middle Tennessee guys, y'all basically had your own loop. You were working 5-6 nights a week too. It's just
yes. I mean, I was trying to work a shoot job and go to HVAC school and wrestle.
Yeah, man.
So I was jumbling all that at once.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool.
All right, Lawrence. I got a question here. I've always this one. I've never asked all these years. When and how did you meet Frankie and Aaron Lane?
So I grew up with Frankie. So we used to go to the sports arena all the time and watch wrestling. Nice. So we got to know each other. And back then, a lot of the kids didn't really watch the wrestling. We mostly went back towards the back of the bleachers, and we'd take a paper cup and we'd wrap it up, and, you know, like we were playing volleyball or something. And all the kids would be back there playing. So that's how we kind of met each other. And Frankie was a big workout buff. So it gave me an opportunity to say, hey, he's jacked, you know. I want to be like him.
Right.
So I'd work out with him, stay the night at his house, got to know his parents, kind of, you know, grew up around them. And that's how we all came together as far as, you know, wrestling. Plus, they were the guys I wrestled with in the backyard.
There you go.
All right, another question. So was Larry Lane the first name you used?
Yes. So me and Frankie and Aaron. Frankie and Aaron's last name is Lane.
Gotcha.
So I stole their name because I didn't want to use my own.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, let's make this work. So that we started coming to, I think it was Sammy Meniere's. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Quinton. I want to say it was Sammy Meniere's, but we were doing the Nasty Lane Brothers.
Yeah.
Well, that's another. I asked you if it was. I couldn't remember if it was Nasty or Dirty Lanes. I knew it was.
No, it was Nasty Lane Brothers. We couldn't be dirty. We had to be nasty.
Yeah.
They said Dutch wouldn't like us to be called dirty. We had to be nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we wound up putting on tights and jogging pants and ripping the jogging pants all the shreds, and we'd have Aaron as our manager.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. So this one is probably a question that I would say a good 75% of the people are tuning in for right now. Even the ones that don't like us, but like you, Lawrence, they're listening right now. And the 3 words I'm going to say are going to hopefully open up a good conversation here. Becoming Strictly Business. One of the most legendary tag teams in Middle Tennessee history. Honestly, if you have a Mount Rushmore on there, they are definitely one of the tag teams on there.
I don't know about legendary, but I mean, we pulled it off. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Quinton had the idea. Correct me if I'm wrong, Quinton. Quinton?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I had the gimmick in my mind for like 2 years, and I had the name, the what you're gonna wear, the music, everything. And I was like, I gotta find me a partner. And I was like, then I kept thinking, I was like, I can't pull this off. And so I just let it, I just like, I didn't. I remember seeing you and Frankie. I was like, that would be perfect for them. They could pull it off. And I remember I came to you or him first or y'all at the same time. I said, y'all want this gimmick? Because I can't do it. And I remember y'all, and next thing you know, y'all did everything to a T of the gimmick while I explained it. I mean, y'all got the pants, shirt, tie, the briefcase, the sunglasses, the music. I mean, y'all did everything exactly to the T how I pictured this gimmick. And man, y'all took it and y'all became it and ran with it. And I mean, like I said, there's no way I could have did it. And I'm glad that I gave it to y'all. Y'all took it and that was y'all,
Well, I remember going to Shelbyville. I think Joe just took over the books. I think Mullins and Champion had a big falling out. And I think Chris got mad and they wound up having Joe.
Actually, Chris left for WC. That's when he got on full time.
Was it for his Yoshi Kwan gimmick, wasn't it?
Is right when he got full time at WCW, and he could. Okay. He was actually still. He was just went to WCW. And he was sending the finishes and the booking through Nasty Nicky, giving it to Glenn, and Glenn's like, we got to have somebody here full time, and he just couldn't do it because he was on the road with WCW. So he gave it to Joe.
Because I remember coming in as the Nasty Lane Brothers, and I hated it.
I think Chris recommended Joe to Glenn. As I remember right, Chris recommended Joe to Glenn.
Okay, all right. Well, I remember coming in as the Nasty Lane Brothers, and I hated it. And I was like, man, this is not working. And we worked. I think we wrestled Ben Mullins and Big Bono.
Oh man!
Yeah, that was our first match in Shelbyville. Oh. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Trust me, it was rough. Big Bono, great look, but couldn't work his way out of a wet paper bag. It was but hey, we did the job. We wanted to be there every week, so we would do whatever they tell us to do. And after that, I was just like, oh wow. Well, then Quinton approached us with that. And I was like, man, I talked to Frank, and I was like, man, that would work. I'm telling you, it would work, And I said, let's give it a shot. And he said, all right, let's do that. I said, well, let's take a week or two off, and we'll come back, and we'll do that. And it just exploded from there. I mean, we worked there, about a month, and then everybody's coming, hey, you want to come wrestle for us? Hey, you want to come to Columbia? Hey, you want to come? I was like, whoa, hang on a second. It's kind of a little overwhelming. And they're like, well, we don't find tag teams, so we need tag teams.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the Devils, the Mortons, the Wild Boys have kind of worked themselves, the Bruise Brothers some too, but they worked those guys. They need fresh teams, and you guys were at that perfect time for them.
So I know Joe heard Tommy Hickey come to us and asked us about coming to Columbia, so he booked us against the Wild Boys.
Mm-hmm.
He said, this was our very first time ever getting into a ring with him, and I was like, oh crap, Frank's nervous.
Yeah.
I calm him down, and I'm like, it's going to be okay. So we get out there, and the first thing they do is Ben locks up with us, arm drag. He goes right back over to the corner, shakes his head, and said, we're fixing to tear it up. He said from there, we knew that, we was fixing to have a great match.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's what got our spot in Columbia.
That's cool, man. Ben told me that story. That's a good story. I love that.
Yeah, man. Love Ben, Steve Neely,
Great guys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Great people.
Steve Neely's the kind of guy you want having your back. He just seems like one of those dudes that'll knock your jaw off if he needs him.
Oh, yeah. He don't take no lip. Yeah. I mean, when he takes off about a month or two, when football season would roll around and he'd take off through the Tennessee Volunteer football season, and he'd come back, he'd be a little stiff.
He was looking for a fight.
He'd be a little stiff.
All right. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember it very well. Back in 1993, there was an incident with you and Frankie, and I don't know if Aaron was with you or not, in Hartsville, Tennessee. Do you remember anything about this?
In Hartsville? Yes, I do. It was with, what was that guy's name that run the show? I think they called him Doodle or something like that. William Summers. Yep. So we were wrestling him and his partner, and Aaron was our manager at the time. And Aaron turned around and, like he tells everybody, he told the people, "Shut up." Well, one girl stands up and starts just cussing him out, and he said, "I told you to sit down, fat girl." And we finished the match. We get in the dressing room. Well, Doodle comes over there and starts running his mouth to Aaron. So we're all just, arguing. We're like, "Look, man, we're out there getting heat. Tell your old lady to sit down. If it's your old lady, she needs to shut up. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to let her get over on us? What?" So he got mad, and Frank grabbed his bag and went out the door, and I grabbed my bag. Aaron was behind me. I went out. They pushed me out the door, and then they pulled the door to and grabbed him. So I ran all the way around to the other dressing room, went through, and started just tagging people to get him out of the dressing room. Finally, we got the door pushed open. The wives wind up pulling us out, and they called the police on us.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the incident.
Wow.
Yeah, because I know that one. Me and Shab with Shabazz, Chris didn't run. It was like a rare Saturday night. Chris didn't run. Chris champion. So me and Shab was like, I said, "Hey man, do you want to go work up in Hartsville? Because you can just go up there and they'll use you. They just make the cards of that night. And he said, "Yeah, let's go do it." So we went up there and we go in the dressing room. I told him, I said, "You go around and go in the bay face," and I'll go in the hill. I said, tell him everything. So get in there, and man, I just sensed, I was like, something ain't right. I was like, and people was standoffish, and I looked at Arnold, Shab, and I said, "Grab your bag, we're getting out of here." So we grabbed our bags, and I said, "Meet me at the car." So I took out the hill just from then. He came around through the bay and come around. We was going out, and we was going down the side of the building to the parking lot where we parked. Next thing I know, Doodle and a bunch of them were yelling at us and telling us, and they had a chair, and it said the Nasty Lane Brothers on it. And they said, "Here, take this chair and go back to them." And I was like, I had no clue what was going on. And I was like, so I went up there. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "They sent y'all up here, didn't they?" I was like, "Who?" And he said, "Frankie and Larry." I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Yeah. We know you work places with them down there. I was like, "Man, we work for Chris Champion on Saturday nights. He ain't running it, so we come up here to me and Arnold to work each other, have a match to do something tonight." And it took forever. It's like, I had no idea what they did to y'all. I haven't talked to those guys, a couple months, hadn't seen them. I had no idea what's going on. And they were just ready to dump us, man. We're just like, we had no clue. It would just had to be the week after that happened. I was like, perfect timing for me,
Yeah, perfect timing, huh?
I told myself,
always got to put the heat on somebody,
We can leave. I said, we're just going to work a match. I said, that's between y'all and them. I had nothing to do with it. So me and Arnold just come here to work. And finally, they're like, "Okay, y'all work." I told Arnold, I said, "Have your bag ready to go. Have it right by the door." I said, "Because if they hit the ring, we're gone." And so we went and had our match. So we had our match. We got back, got dressed, and got out of there. And I don't think I ever went back. I don't think. Yeah. It was like, it was a mess.
Yeah, it was a big mess.
Man, it sounds like
more of a mess for y'all than it was for me and Shaba, but yeah.
We left that town.
Of that one.
Yeah, we left that town, never looked back.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
All right, Lawrence. So 93, 94, we were talking about Chris Champion there. You were working for him some in Lewisburg. Talk to us about Chris a little bit.
Oh, Chris was awesome. Man, he really took care of us. He took us under our, his wing, was trying to teach us, psychology, was really open to, guys, who would y'all like to wrestle? I was like, whoa, hey, I'm not used, I hadn't been in the business that long for somebody to ask me that. I'll wrestle anybody you want me to. And that's, well, I mean, so when we worked for them, there was a couple boys there named the Mortons, Shane Morton, Steve Morton. And at the time they were working the non-pros. And we would watch some of that because, we're always curious, I mean, so we watched them, and me and Frankie, we're nudging each other. We're like, hey, dude, they can work. They can go. And I said, man, maybe we ought to talk, let's watch them a couple more weeks. So we watched them a few weeks, and I was like, man, yeah, Chris, can I ask a favor? Sure, what you want? I'd like to work the Mortons. The Mortons? Who are you talking about? Shane and Steve over there? Oh, well, I don't know if I can let that happen. Okay, why not? Well, I got them working non-pro right now, and, I was like, nah, we want to work them. So we wound up, just bugging the crap out of him. And he was like, all right, work them. Okay. He said, but I don't want to see any ups. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we ran around the building, went to the back door where they were at. We went in the dressing room, and everybody's looking at us like, oh, crap, what the hell are they doing back here? So we pulled them off to the side and said, hey, we're wrestling y'all. Okay, let's do this. And we went out there, and we tore it up. And Chris Champion was like, I can't believe that. How did y'all just pull that off? Dude, they're workers. They're workers.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. We want workers.
Yeah,
and
that's
Chris
awesome.
was impressed.
That's very
so
cool.
we wound up, we did a hell of a run with them.
That's very cool,
and
man.
Enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, people see you do that. Next thing you know, we're working in Shelbyville. Next thing you know, we're working in McMinnville. Next thing you know, we're working Columbia. We're working everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, holy crap. I got a good Shane Morton story. Was wrestling in Shelbyville. I hit him with something and busted him open. And I went to pick him up. And when he did, he looked like a sprinkler. I picked him up and he shot blood all up my white shirt. He turned around and was sprinkling everybody in the first two rows going around.
Man. Arterial spray.
I mean, it was just like pump his arm, he squirt.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But wow, can you imagine being in the crowd? Just, hey,
people were they were just like, oh my God, wow. It was everything I could do, is keep from busting out laughing.
From the stories I've heard, I'm surprised that hasn't happened more, where blood just sprays all over everybody, honestly.
If Shane Morton was there and he was bleeding, he was definitely, he was squirting on somebody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. So I managed Shane for a little bit at Saw against Boogie in a little program, and they blew it off in a cage match, right? And at the end of it, I mean, it was a brutal slugfest. Shane and Boogie were both bleeding. Shane comes to the back. He's got the crimson mask. I'm like, you good, man? He was like, oh, yeah, I'm fine, man. What's up? Why? And I'm like, okay, your face. And I hadn't seen exactly a lot of that in person. You know what I'm saying, Lawrence? And and I'm like, you good, man? How was Boogie? He was like, night off. He was looking for a towel. Oh, man. I was like, that is some blood, bro. Yeah.
Be glad he found a towel, because I had seen him stick a lot of things to his forehead and tape it up. He didn't have a towel.
Nice, clean, sharp dressed man shirt.
I don't think anybody's ever asked Shane Morton to get a little color.
Oh, yeah. Just a little?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's two words, little and Shane, little color. Just I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Right. Yeah, no, it ain't gonna happen.
Never happened. I'm just like, Jesus, man. He's cost me a lot of white shirts in my career.
I bet, man. There's no getting that stuff out. I mean, you can bleach it all you like, and maybe it'll come out. But yeah.
All right, this question is going to fast forward a little ways. And I was there this night, and it was spring of 2006 in Columbia, Tennessee. They were getting ready for the next week. the next show was their big Mule Day show, which every year was the biggest show of the year for them. If I can remember right, correct me and throw stuff in here because to complete the whole story in this. You were working there already because I managed guys against you or with you. I can't remember it. You were there. I was there. Frankie wasn't there, right? And I don't know what the deal was. If something happened more, he was coming to run. Was coming to do a run in, and went nuts. And he was running and went to slide in. He cross bodies the side of the ring and just falls to the floor. And the place went. Oh, I mean, it was like the biggest pop to the biggest I've ever heard in my life. The boys were rolling. How did you not laugh?
So
embarrassment.
I guess let me. So it was Larry Valentine and Hot Rod Biggs. So they were beating me up.
Wow.
They beat me up, and my son Austin slides in the ring. Mind you, he's about 5-6 years old. He slides in the ring. The deal was Larry Valentine was going to back him into a corner. He was going to act like he was fixing to hit him, and Frankie was supposed to make the big save. So, rewind a little bit. The match before us had did a powder gimmick. So they threw the powder in the face. Well, the powder went all over the floor. So they just mopped the floor. So Shane Morton told him, when you do the run-in, don't go to the front of the ring. You got to go to the side. Well, Frankie, in the heat of the moment, forgot all about it. So he takes off running, and he slides. And I'm laying there watching Larry Valentine fix to get my son, and I look thinking, where the hell's he at? And I feel the ring when he hits it. Boom, and I watch him fall. And then I lay back down and look up and say, this is exact words that came out of my mouth to Larry Valentine. Man down, man down. And I tried to grab Larry's leg so he wouldn't get my son, and he's laughing. I'm laughing. So then Frank jumps back up. He goes to slide in the ring, and he's got this big comb that comes out of his back pocket, and it gets caught on the bottom rope.
Oh, man.
So now he's stuck. So now he's trying to wiggle his way through, and he finally slides up in there and wheels the case around, and everybody takes the powder, and I'm just laying there crying. I'm laughing so hard. I grab my son, and the people think that I am crying because of my son.
Yeah.
In reality, I'm crying because that was the funniest shit I've ever seen. That was like, Shane Morton, I think, has that on video.
Oh, man. Yeah, I got to find that. Yeah.
You got to find that. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah.
That's a classic. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't tell you how many times we watched it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm still laughing and rewinding in my head. I just heard all the backward. We were just dying laughing. The pop was crazy. I mean, they popped crazy, and it was like, and just let the air out of the balloon.
It was just like you popped the balloon. It was done. Yeah. It was, yeah, that was if there was a blooper reel, that would definitely be on it.
CHW Pro Wrestling returns to Ashland City on January 25th with another history-making event. It's the Ashland City Rumble. Witness Middle Tennessee wrestling history as 30 wrestlers compete to become the CHW Ashland City champion. This exciting match will begin with 2 competitors, with new fighters introduced into the match every few minutes. Once a wrestler goes over the top rope with both feet touching the floor, they will be eliminated. This battle will continue until all 30 men have entered and there is only one left standing. That man will be crowned the new CHW Ashland City champion. In December, the all-nighter Austin Wright defied the odds by defeating the Kentucky Iceman, the Red Demon, and Bubba Morton all in one night to conquer the one-night tournament and claim the CHW Heavyweight Championship, establishing himself as the top pro wrestler in CHW, a title every other wrestler would love to take from him. We are all hoping to hear from Austin as he addresses the fans of CHW to discuss his monumental victory and the future of the CHW Heavyweight Championship. CHW Family Dysfunction on display for all to see. CHW owner and promoter Mike Green is loved and appreciated by the fans because of his commitment to delivering the best pro wrestling events that Middle Tennessee has seen in years. Everyone has been sickened by the actions of Mike's son Chris, who has turned his back on his family, friends, and fans by deceiving his own father into signing over part ownership of CHW to him. Chris has used this new authority to favor himself and his friends, even going as far as gifting the CHW Tag Team Championship belts to his pals, the Wild Wolves. It's a tale of two brothers. While Chris Green has shown his true colors, his brother Steven has done the same. Steven is one of the most loved wrestlers in Tennessee history, known for always doing the right thing and fighting for his family and fans. Steven is the only thing standing in the way of Chris gaining even more power over the company. There is no way these brothers can coexist in CHW, and after several attempts to settle their conflict in the ring, these brothers will have one more chance to end the war as they meet in a main event, anything goes street fight, where anything can happen. Who will be the first challenger to the new heavyweight champion Austin Wright? Will there finally be resolution to the brotherly hatred between Steven and Chris Green in this ultra dangerous street fight? One man will make Tennessee wrestling history by outlasting 29 other competitors in the first ever Ashland City Rumble. Expect exciting surprise entrants, including Tennessee wrestling legends and competitors never seen in CHW before. It's the Ashland City Rumble, January 25th at the National Guard Armory in Ashland City. Family fun, delicious concessions, all more affordable than taking the family to see a movie. Live action entertainment brought to you by Fonda on 12th, Mama D's Restaurant, Dapper Fades, 5-Star Cleaners, and the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. Please support our sponsors.
This question I got, no, Frankie, he took, there was several times he would take time off and stuff. And was there any other, and during the first, at least the first time he took off, was there any thought of ever replacing Frankie and putting somebody else in strictly business with you?
No, because I felt like, there was only one strictly business, really.
Yeah.
We've been together so long. Now we've run some stories of in McMinnville with Frankie turning on me and me finding a partner and putting him in a shirt and tie, and him finding a partner and putting him in a shirt and tie.
That's awesome.
Just to kind of run a little something. The winner gets strictly business.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, just run a little stuff like that. Because you get stale after a while, and just wonder, everybody, come up with different ideas. And I was cool with that. It was fun. I think one time I had Vandy Fultz as a partner.
Vandy.
One time I had Jammer as a partner. Yeah.
Yeah, he was when he first started. Yeah, he was part of y'all did a little thing, and then it ended up you and Frankie got back together and turned on him on Vandy.
Yeah.
And I was there at that time. I remember some of that. Actually, okay. The other part of this, it was actually kind of a two-part question. When he took the time off the first time, did you ever think about doing a different gimmick? Because you said you didn't want to, you didn't want to fight things.
I really didn't. If I knew he was coming back, I still ran this. I just kind of changed the name a little bit just because, Strictly Business Tag Team. A few people told me, said, man, if I was you, I'd probably do Sharp Dressed Man. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you can run with that, and that way, if he comes back, there's always your team back together. I said, hey, I kind of like that. Yeah. So that's when I kind of come up with that was I could get some singles runs and just do some different stuff because, can't be a partner all your life. And Frank wants time off. He deserves the time off,
Yeah. Yeah. So where did the Sharp Dressed Man idea come from?
Actually, Joe gave it to me.
Cool.
Joe was like, well, what's your song? And I said, ZZ Top. He said, no, what's the name of your song? I said, Sharp Dressed Man. He's like, there it is. Okay. Next thing I know, I'm getting billed as Sharp Dressed Man.
Nice.
I said, all right, works for me, But, along the way, I've had so many partners.
Yeah.
So many partners because I love tag team wrestling.
It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, I feel like I can tell better stories. I don't get as blowed up, and I still work hard, but I just try to come up with different ideas. And I've had some good runs, with some other partners too. I worked with Jason James for a while and Saul. Mm-hmm. We did Law and Order.
Yeah, and
Cruel came up with that. He was like, we'll do Law and Order.
Yeah.
Okay, I know the TV show. He said, yeah, same concept.
Yeah.
I said, okay. He was like, Jason does all the talking and you're the beat up guy. Sounds good to me.
There you go. Yeah.
It got me on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reno was doing TV at the time. So, it was a good run for, me. They didn't have nothing, going with Jason. So he said, I'll just put y'all together. Y'all can work these Indian guys. Sure. That sounds great. I love it. But they wound up kind of being jerks at the end because me and Jason was sitting in the dressing room one night and come over to us and said, all right, guys, this is the part of the business we hate. And we just looked at each other like, what are you talking about? Well, tonight it's a 5-minute squash. And Jason looked at me. I looked at him. I said, you getting squashed? He said, no, are you? I said, no, I'm not. So we went over to Reno and said, hey, what's this deal? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So we turned that 5-minute squash into a 20-minute match.
Wow.
And they were mad. They were mad. They was like, what happened? I was like, I'll tell you what happened. You ain't squashing us.
Right. No squash.
I don't care how big you are.
The team, was that Tribal Nation?
Yes, Tribal Nation.
Okay. I heard the taller one. I know several people had problems with him through the.
Oh yeah, he had an ego.
Yeah, heard several had a problem with him. The time he was down here at Saul.
Mm. What was their names?
I can't remember. One of them was Lennox Lewis. The smaller one was Lennox Lewis.
I know Lennox. I managed Lennox actually.
Yeah. Now Lennox was a good kid. He was a good kid.
Yeah.
He was the worker of that team.
I was hoping to get. I was managing him at the same time as I was managing Plunky and Drew, and I was really hoping to get a nice little faction going with Lennox and them. But Lennox didn't stick around, so is what it is. But yeah, very cool.
Man, he was a great guy. I mean, he worked.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. He wrestled. He didn't mind going out there and doing anything. It was the other one, that didn't act like an Indian. That just act like he was the greatest in the world. And I had respect for Jason James after that because Jason had the same outlook I had. We're not letting this guy beat us up.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. You got to stand up for yourself, right? I mean, that's the truth. Yeah.
So Lawrence, talked about him in your Mount Rushmore and talked about him in your training and everything like that. Tell us about some road trips with Gypsy Joe.
Oh, Lord. Joe was very amusing. if he was in a good mood. He could be funny. He could, there was this referee guy, is Eric Hicks, Spitshine.
Yes.
We were going to a show, and Joe didn't want to drive, so he had Spit drive. So I was sitting in the back seat, and we pull over to the gas station. Joe said, I got to go to the bathroom. Okay. Well, Spit started going through his glove box, and I was like, Spit, you don't need to go through Joe's stuff. Well, he found a picture of Joe from Japan, and he was like, I'm going to ask him about this. I was just like, oh, Lord, this is fixing to be ugly.
Yeah.
And Joe gets in the car, he got him, got him some drink and got him some little snacks. And, Spit looked at him and said, hey, Joe, what's this? And Joe grabbed it out of his hand. He cussed him in probably 4 different languages. He reached over and he slapped him so hard in the chest. That,
oh, my God.
I mean, he reared back, and oh, my goodness, it sounded like a gun going off. And I just sat back like, oh, crap. And Spit's over there. He can't breathe. Joe's still cussing at him. He looks over at Joe, and Joe slaps him in the face. Don't you ever touch my stuff. Ever. I was like, ooh. And he looked back at me, and he was like, did you touch? No, Joe, I didn't touch nothing. I did not touch anything. I don't care what you got in here.
Yeah.
He was like, you don't touch my, man, he was such in a bad mood. It was just, it didn't matter what you did. You couldn't talk. You couldn't say nothing. When Joe got in a bad mood, he didn't have nothing to say to you.
No thanks. Seriously.
My first trip with Joe was funny because we went to Shelby Adcock's, I think it was Morgantown. And Joe said, you pick me up at 2:00. Okay, that's a little early, He was like, no, 2:00. We have to go. You get no hurry. Okay. So I could only do the speed limit because if I went any faster, he commenced cussing me. So I drove the speed limit all the way there. Took us longer than it should have. So we pull up to this building, and it's this old, beat up building. I mean, reminds me of old Shelbyville building inside, And before we get out of the car, he looked at me. He said, hey, I want to tell you something. I said, okay, what's up? He was like, you be respectful. Yes, sir. You treat these guys with respect. They'll respect you back. And no rats. Okay, Joe. All right. What's a rat? And he was like, he starts laughing. He gets out of the car. So the whole way in the dressing room, I'm asking him, what's a rat, Joe? Hey, Joe, what's a rat? And he wouldn't tell me. So night's over. Shelby Adcock comes back here and says, hey, you know where Joe's at? And I was like, no, sir. And he was like, well, I got his pay here and got your pay here. Just let me give it to you. And I asked Jamie, I said, Jamie, seen Joe? Oh, yeah, brother. He's out there in the car. Okay. Wait a minute. What do you mean he's in my car? So I go out there. Windows are fogged up. I know the girl was blonde because her head was going way above where my door panel was.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm standing there, and he got his bag laying on the ground. So I pick on my own window. I said, hey. He rolls the window down. What? I said, what's going on? He said, I told you no rats. That don't go for Joe. And he rolled the window.
Oh, that's funny.
So hour and a half later.
Hour and a half later.
Hour and a half later, I'm sitting on the trunk. Yeah.
Oh,
waiting on Joe.
If the car is rocking, boots are knocking.
Yeah. They didn't call him Hung Low Joe for nothing.
Hey, Lawrence.
Yes.
Hey, Lawrence, was you in Dixon the night Joe and I can't remember the name of the promoter, they got into it and Joe chased him out in the lobby naked? Were you on that show, you and Frankie?
No, we were not. We wasn't on that show, but we heard about it on the next loop.
Oh, man.
I was great. I was there. Because Lonnie Lane was running with this guy. I can't remember the guy's name, but man, him and Joe he come back here and said something to Joe, and Joe was getting undressed, and Joe stood up butt naked and told dude to get out of the dress, and dude told Joe, "Don't tell me." And next thing I know, takes off running out of the dressing room into the lobby of the of the armory, butt naked.
Oh
and
my
they're coming out. The show's over. Everybody's filling out of the gym part of the armory into the lobby to go out the door.
Show started.
Got butt naked. It just. It's the craziest thing I've seen, man. I was like, we were all sitting. I looked at Lauren and I was like, "You gotta go get him." Lauren's like, "I ain't getting him."
What do you mean we?
I remember one time at Charlie's Corner down in Dixon, Joe was supposed to make the save on somebody, and he forgot. Well, he had his towel on, and he was, trying to change, and the bells ringing. I think it was Bubba Morton come running back there because he was reffing at the time, and he was hollering, Joe, you going to make the save? And he was like, oh, I forgot. And he jumps up, runs out there with a towel, and drops the towel.
Oh my gosh. Joe, you're dragging, man. Come on.
Joe. He just dropped the towel. He was like, I didn't need that. And of course, the guy, Charlie, that owns the ball, he grabs the towel and he takes off running up there and throws it at him and tells him, put it on. Yeah. It's like I run a sex club. Yeah.
Does he have boots on, or is he just naked to the foot?
Oh, he's barefooted.
Barefooted,
yeah,
okay.
He's completely barefooted.
Golly, man. Yeah, that's funny. Something about the boots is funnier, but I like that. I mean, it just shows you where he was when he was butt naked. Oh, man. That's funny.
Hey, he didn't miss his cue, though. He made the save.
No, he didn't. God bless Gypsy Joe, man. God bless Gypsy Joe.
I love him to death. I miss him. He done a lot for me. Me and Frankie. It broke my heart, to see when he got down and, they had to remove his leg, and, it was just, it was horrible. It was, they brought him to Lewisburg one night, and Joe was sitting out there in the wheelchair, and, we must have been idiots. But I thought it'd be funny if we would crawl over to Joe, and, let him chop us or something, it's Joe.
Make him feel alive,
My God, he slapped me so hard, I don't remember what night it was. And he's laughing. And he's just laughing. I was like, oh, God. Oh, he about killed me, Joe,
he had one
I love you,
up.
And he was like, that felt good. That felt good. It made me feel good to make him feel good,
Yes. Why can I not get the picture out of my mind of a young Lawrence with Tojo and Gypsy like Mr. Miyagi? Like, no, Lawrence son. Wax on, wax off, not wax off, wax on. Yeah.
I tell you, you put them together. Oh my goodness.
That's a podcast.
Yeah. All they did was argue.
Oh, really? That's funny.
And my thing was, I don't think they were arguing.
Yeah.
I believe they just, the way they talked to each other, to them, that was how they talked to each other.
Right.
To me, they were arguing. They would raise their voice. They would scream at each other. They'd holler. I'm like, oh my God, y'all calm down. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why are y'all arguing? We're not arguing. We have a conversation.
We're just talking, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God. Those guys, man. Well, okay. I've got a funny story here that I've just got to talk about. So, we can't really follow Gypsy Joe up very well, but Shane gave me this story, and it is hilarious. So, the street fight that you and Shane Morton had at ASW in Lewisburg, and so you wrap an extension cord around Shane's neck, right? And you're choking him, right? And you say, Shane, man, you're selling good, brother. This looks good. And apparently the extension cord was shocking the crap out of Shane.
It was. Yeah.
Tell me that.
Yeah, so we were doing a street fight, and, we wandered out the front door, and we're out there on the outside, they have a concession stand walk-in from the outside, and they have extension cords running over so they can, power everything. And I commenced to kicking him, and I see this extension cord laying there. Well, I'm like, shoot, I'm going to wrap it around his neck, Hey. So I wrap it around his neck, and he starts jerking.
Yeah.
And the people are, at the time, we had the garage door open, and they can see us. So there's, I'm choking him, and he's shocked. He's sitting there and jerking. I let him go. I reach down, and I choke him again. And, I let him go. I pick him up, and I'm like, boy, you're selling your ass off. And he was like, no wonder you're shocking the shit out of me. And I was like, oh, man.
Shane, I was thinking, why did your hair turn white real quick there, man?
That was the best he'd ever sold for me, And
that's where the Mortons
like,
get it. They have to be shocked. That's the deal.
Yeah. And I did not realize. I was like, oh, my goodness. And I didn't think nothing about it because I do electrical stuff.
Yeah.
So a little shock, I don't feel it.
Right.
Well, he felt it.
Yeah. About electrician. What caused it? Was it just a bad plug-in or something?
It was an extension cord that had been I guess people walking on it, being in gravel over time.
Yeah.
Had wore out. So the metal was showing on some of it.
Oh. And it was juicing Shane up, man. Wow. I don't even know how you would not sell that. You know what I mean? Like, let's say he was supposed to hulk up on you or something like that. And how would he do that?
Yeah, I was just like, oh my goodness. Don't get me wrong. Hey, don't get me wrong. He got me back. He super kicked me.
Oh, of course, yeah. Kicked your head into next.
He wasn't going to let me get one up on him,
No, not a bit. Well, yeah, that was a good. So I guess kind of as we're starting to wrap things up here, the one thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about here was obviously your post-retirement plans. We want to talk about that. But I think the one thing I really want to focus on in this part of the conversation is your boy, man, Austin. Talk about him. Talk about how he got started and where you see him going. And I've got to work with him on shows before. I don't know if we worked in direct matches, but I know I worked with him on a few shows when he was just starting out. And I had a lot of promise then. Yeah, I know he's got to be doing a lot better even now,
Oh, most definitely. He, when I started going to Shelbyville and, he turned 5 or 6 and I put him in a shirt and tie because I was, taking Polaroids at $5 a Polaroid. So, I wasn't pimping him out or anything, but, I was making money. So, but he was always my roadie. He traveled everywhere that I went, that I thought would be safe for him.
Yeah.
And, so, it's like Cody, David, Morton, they all grew up around the business. So, he wanted to be part of the business.
Yeah.
And, he came to me and was wanting, talking about wanting to be trained and all that. And I told him, I was like, man, I don't know, your mama, I just don't know, I won't be able to train you like I think I need to train you because I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really rough with you. And then I got to go home and listen to your mama. So I'm not going to train you. Well, Shane Morton was in Lewisburg at the time at ASW, and he was taking all the sons, even, Mikey Dunn's son, Michael.
Yeah.
And he would come down there early on Saturdays, and he'd get them in the ring, and he knew they already knew how to wrestle. Yeah. So he was teaching them fundamentals and psychology and how to, get in the ring and, protect yourself.
Yeah. And
he did that, and Shane, worked with him for a while and said, hey, I think y'all are ready. Well, Austin decided to pursue a little more training because Jeremiah Plunkett started coming down early.
Okay.
And he would get in there with Jeremiah Plunkett.
Yeah.
For about a year.
Gotcha.
And just keep, I would let Austin wrestle under a hood.
Okay.
Because, I was hiding his identity.
Okay.
So while he was still doing that, he was still learning. And once he, took the mask off and took off, he's a hard worker. I'm proud of him. He's been in it about 10 years. He still has the passion. He still wants to go places and do things. And every match he's in, 4 or 5 stars.
Yeah.
if you have a bad match with Austin, something's wrong with you.
Right.
You know, he was just trained. He's fundamentally adaptable, so he can work old school, new school. You know, he can combine it, and he knows how to tell stories.
Yeah.
So he's a good boy. He does work hard. And my last night, you know, I did not put my boots in the ring. I decided that I was going to give them to my son.
That's cool.
You know, so that's what I did, and I finally told him something that, you know, a lot of people don't tell their family in the wrestling business is, you know, I'm proud of it. And I am, you know, as long as he keeps the passion, you know.
Yeah. Well, I see bright future for him. I mean,
I kind of threw a little bait out there before with the Suns on a New Year's Eve, Lewisburg. There was we had 2 matches that night, and we were doing a party for New Year's Eve.
Okay.
So we wasn't trying to have a full show.
Right.
So I came up with this idea. We're going to have Uncle Biff work Sean Hoodridge for the heavyweight title.
Nice. Okay.
Then we're going to do Mikey Dunn, myself, and Yukon Jack versus Austin Wright, Michael Dunn, and Poncho Art.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah.
And we packed the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Because stories matter.
We packed the house.
That's awesome, man.
You know, it was like, I was amazed.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy crap. Sean Hoodridge walked in the building and he was like, yeah, we probably it ain't going to be all that great New Year's Eve. He looks out there and he says, oh my God, there's 250 people out there. I said, yeah, get your working shoes on.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad I stopped managing Sean before he started bringing out that snake, because I'd have had to held it, and I'm not doing that. Ain't gonna happen.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, you're the tough guy, Lawrence. I'm not. Remember, okay?
Yeah. Well, I guess through my career, Chris Champion used to bring his snake to the show.
Oh yeah,
and, I would always make him pull it out of the bag, and I'd sit there and play with it.
Dude, you know, you got over your fear. You may not have ever had a fear, but dude, I'm just not about snakes.
But that's the thing. I just looked at it like, he's going to put it on me no matter what. So I better be comfortable with it.
Might as well get comfortable. Let's not. Yeah. That's a great, because I would be like Shane when you're shocking him with that cord with that snake on me. You know? Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Well, so, okay, post-retirement. Let's talk about this. Obviously, you've retired from in-ring. Now, maybe something comes up, whatever. But where does the mind of Lawrence go after this? Are you going to maybe book somewhere? Are you just taking a break and seeing how things plan out? What do you?
I never say never.
Yeah.
You know, because I never know what can come up.
Right.
You know, as far as anything else, you know, I'm enjoying my wife, grandkids. I got 6 of them.
Wow.
You know,
little
I got
sharp-dressed grandkids.
Yeah, I got 2. You know, I got 2 of them doing sports. My son's son, he's into everything, you know, from basketball to baseball to football, and, you know, he keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah.
My oldest granddaughter, she plays soccer, probably play again, you know, next year. So, I mean, you know, I'm just kind of enjoying the family right now, you know, and just laying low for a little while, you know, but I still get to, you know, I still conversate, you know, with some of the guys, you know,
of course.
I still conversate with Boogie Woogie Boy. You know, I talk to him religiously about 3 times a week. So,
what's up, Boogie?
You know,
hope you're listening.
Yeah, you know, I did end his career, so, you know.
Right.
The least I can do, the least I can do is talk to him, you know.
Of course.
No, Boogie's great. Boogie's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I was always told, if you walk away with, you know, 5 friends in this business, you've accomplished something. I think I've accomplished a lot, because I got more than 5.
Yeah,
you know,
you might need 2 hands, right? Maybe even some feet.
Exactly. You know, especially after my last match, you know, when all them showing up, man, it just, you know, it felt good. You know, it was like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
I respect every one of them, you know. Every one of them, you know, been around me for a long time, and they know they can just call and ask me, you know, and I'll do anything I can for them.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. And it was cool to see all that, you know, and it looked like we said earlier in the show, it looked like a great time, and really CHW went out of their way to put on a great thing. I know Aaron loves you to death, man. Aaron was like, man, you got to get Lawrence on the show. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm going to. I promise. I promise. It's going to. But he loves you, man. And I love Aaron. He's a great dude. I respect all y'all guys. I love that there's people still doing wrestling, and hopefully, it can continue, especially people doing it the right way, So.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's a lot of the what I call old timers. Yeah, I call myself an old timer now. We're drifting away. Our bodies can't do it anymore, and we're kind of relying on what we got right now, which, don't get me wrong, there's still some guys out there that still get it,
Yeah.
Some are a little far-fetched. I still believe in old school wrestling. I still believe when you booked me, you didn't book me for my wrestling ability. You booked me for my storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
I wrestling ain't my forte. It's, I'm a good bullshitter. I can sell a used car. I can make you believe what I'm doing. So
hey, that's what matters.
Everybody. If you're booking me to go out here and take 100 bumps, you booked the wrong guy.
Right. Right.
How about I take 3 or 4 and I tell you a good story?
Yeah. There you go. I mean, dude, that's it. But I would take stories over anything. And that's I think what wrestling is all about. Obviously, in-ring matters. We know that. But I think it's like at least 75% story, So in my personal opinion.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And, Mikey Dunn, man, I got a lot of respect for him, a lot of appreciation for him. I've been around Mikey for years and years. I even made him wear a shirt and tie one time. So, if he'll do that for me, I know he'll do anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there you go.
he was my request for my last match.
Yeah, it seemed to fit, man. He seemed to fit.
He delivered and, made me cry like a baby, but, at the end of it, I got a lot of respect for him, a lot of love, I know why they call us brothers.
Yeah.
We don't always agree with everything that we do, but at the end of the day, we still love each other,
You always have their backs,
That's right. Always,
Yeah. That's cool. Well, Sheik, we always pivot to you for the final question, brother. Take it away, my man.
All right, Lawrence. So, you just had your last match, and you said you didn't know the name of some of the people in your first match. But if you look back on your career and you say that was my favorite match I ever had, what would that be?
Oh my goodness, man! You're talking 34 years of wrestling a lot of different people. I mean, honestly, I enjoyed working with Ricky and Robert, Rock and Roll Express, when I was teaming with P.D. St. Croix, and he was doing the shirt and tie thing, and we were calling ourselves ABA, All Business Alliance. And they brought in Ricky and Robert, and we got to, get in the ring with them and experience Ricky and Robert. They were 2 awesome guys and my childhood. Yeah. So it kind of was really special, with them and them. And also, when I think Mikey brought up a 6-man that me and, that we had with Bill Dundee, that I'm still looking for I lost a tooth in that match, so I'm still looking for it if he ever finds it.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, I thought those punches were a work. I was wrong. Don't never give him your chin. That was my first mistake, But, looking back on it, I probably had more fun with the local guys like your Shanes, your Boogies, your Wild Boys, To pick a favorite's kind of hard to do, but, at the end of the day, I just enjoyed everything,
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool.
We'll accept that answer.
It's hard to pick one when,
absolutely.
As much as I forgot, a lot of concussions, been dropped on my head several times, and just to remember what I did yesterday is an accomplishment.
Yeah, well, hey, that's a start, Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I hope it goes well for you, man.
I had a lot of fond memories, with Quinton, back in the day. I mean, we did a lot of loops together, always in the dressing room, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Well, Lawrence, man, this has been an honor to have you on, brother. I know it's been a long time coming, but I promise I wanted to make it something special, and nothing really was a better time than your after your retirement, and we got Quinton to ask all these great questions with us. It just lined up perfectly. So, no better time than right now is what I say. You know what I'm saying? So we truly thank you, buddy. We truly thank you, sir, very much.
Oh, no, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate what y'all do, on your podcast. You bring back a lot of memories, and I'm a believer in listening to your podcast because it's always going to be interesting.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, means the world, brother, for sure.
Yeah, Lawrence, man, it was good talking to you, buddy. A lot of years, man, a lot of years. Like I said, man, when I gave y'all that gimmick, I never thought y'all would take it and do what y'all did with it, man. And because, like I said, y'all took it and did it a million times more than I could have ever done with it, and it makes me proud that I come up with it and then gave it to y'all, and I knew that y'all had it to do it and y'all could do it and y'all did it, but I never thought y'all would get it going way more than I ever thought. You know what I'm saying?
If you'd asked me 30-something years ago, would I still been doing this, 30-something years later, I'd told you no.
Hey, but if it works, keep it, man. You got to keep it, So.
Well, a good story. Chris Kern asked me one night in Petersburg. He said, "Hey, why don't you change your gimmick?" And I looked at him and I said, "Do what?" And he said, "Why don't you change your gimmick?" I said, "Well, let me ask you a question, Chris. How many times have you changed yours?" "Oh, about 6, 7, 8 times." I said, my phone still rings, so I don't have to change mine.
Boom. Wow. That was a mic drop. Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, love you, Chris. But yeah, so what's funny is, you've got all these things that, you have to think about through the time. But one thing that I know I want to do is let's try to figure out a part 2 and get Frankie on, man, and bring you two back.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about the slip, trip, and fall,
Yeah. I think that's a good idea, man. So let's plan that. That'll be our next goal. So here in a little bit, we'll have Strictly Business on the podcast. I'll promise that.
You hear it first.
So.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be great, man.
Well, thank you so much, Lawrence. It's been an honor, buddy. And like I said, we'll get that Strictly Business episode coming soon. But thank you. And man, just really appreciate you for everything that you've given to the business, brother. It means a lot to get to know you and to hear your story.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Jimmy, and, Quinton and Jared. It's always a pleasure. And keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, man. Thank you, brother. Take care. All right.
Thanks, sir.
All right. That was the sharp dressed man, Lawrence. We'll be right back with the Plastic Sheik and Quinton on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com, and to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to uswapodcast.com.
Hi, this is Mike Needham, host of the Reckless Abandon Podcast with Mike Needham. We invite you to jump on your favorite podcast platform and search for the Reckless Abandon Podcast and give us a listen. I'm sometimes joined by a part-time podcaster, part-time co-host, and full-time wife, Tiffany Nicole. We talk wrestling, we talk pop culture, we talk local events, local happenings in West Tennessee, and a ton of other stuff. But be sure to check out the Reckless Abandon podcast. Find us on Facebook. Also, look up the Microgroup Podcasting family on Facebook and see some of our other podcasts we have out there. Until next time, make good choices and always remember, no dollar, no dice.
Hey everyone, this is Shane from Insane Shane's World. I release wrestling figures of enhancement talent, mid-card wrestlers, and wrestlers that you never thought would have a figure available. So if you're interested in adding a really cool and rare figure to your collection, then don't hesitate to contact me at shamtheman73@gmail.com. That's SHAMtheman73@gmail.com. You can also join my Facebook group. Just search Insane Shane's World.
Oh, Sheik and Quinton, one more time with another excellent episode. Sharp dressed man Lawrence. Guys, man, I'm just always impressed by some of these stories, and I honestly feel that might be one of the best interviews we've done, y'all. I'm very happy with that.
Lawrence was a total professional, man. It was good to talk to him and hear his story, man.
Very funny, very funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, especially the Gypsy Joe story in the car.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man.
You can just see that. Yeah, him rolling down the window. What?
Yeah.
Oh man, like you. What do you think, Joe? You're in my car. Your butt prints are on the window right now, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, if y'all have enjoyed that, we definitely hope you have. Go out to CHW January 25th for their 30-man Ashland City Rumble. Don't miss this. This is going to be one of the greatest events they've put on. And honestly, they're just hitting dingers right now. December, Lawrence's Last Stand. January, 30-man Rumble. So listen, y'all, seriously. They've come on as a sponsor. We've decided to do the same. So every show we're sponsoring them, they're sponsoring our podcast. So just go out there, check them out. Ashland City, January 25th, the 30-man Rumble. You'll definitely enjoy it. But if you're ever curious about what's going on in our world, make sure you go to all of our social media pages. It's at GMBMPW on Facebook, Instagram, X, and especially YouTube. Guys, we're climbing the charts, almost there. We're still fighting for 1,000. Thank y'all so much that have supported us and already subscribed and went ahead and helped us out. But if you know somebody that loves wrestling and just needs a good new podcast to listen to, let them know about Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. I think we do something fun over here, something different. And it's not the same old interview that you hear all the time. It's somebody that you probably haven't heard their story. And guess what? These stories, I'll put them up against anybody's out there whatsoever. So that's all I got, guys. Y'all have anything else before we go?
No, man, I believe you wrapped it up nice there.
I got a little something, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so many people in the Middle Tennessee area might remember a guy named Lone Wolf. His name was Lone Wolf. His actual name was Ben Dixon.
Yeah.
He wrestled in the late 90s, early 2000s, Middle Tennessee area. He had the Lone Wolf Tattoo Shop. I've known him since me and him was been 12 years old. We went to school together, Mount Juliet. You know, I've known him all forever. I talked to him this week. He's been diagnosed with cancer.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so if you can keep him in your prayers. I said, man, Ben's such a good dude, man.
Yeah.
And he's always I said he was only wrestling for a few years, but he's always helped the boys out and stuff when they needed stuff. It's just cause I've known him forever. He's just such a good dude, and he's going through some rough times right now. So just keep him in your prayers if you can.
Yeah, and obviously, as we always say, definitely pray for Ben. Keep Ben in your prayers. I think Ben is a true positivity light that hopefully anybody that's going through some darkness can look to his story and pull something from. But another person we want to talk about that, especially about a recent episode of ours, Mikey Dunn's cousin, Mark Dunovitt. They call him the Honey Badger. They're doing a show. It's Fight for the Honey Badger. It's a benefit. It's a wrestling and auction benefit show. It's going to be Sunday, February 2nd. 106 Southside Street in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Doors are opening at 1, bell time's 2 o'clock. All tickets $5. Going to be some great action. I know that Strictly Business is going to be there. I know the Mortons. I know Mikey's going to be there, and many more of the stars. LBK. Some great people are going to be there. So go out and support Honey Badger. Ben Dixon, say a prayer for him. One of the preeminent tattoo artists in the entire city of Nashville and the Middle Tennessee area. And I think that is all. Do you have anything, guys, other than that?
That's it.
All right. That's it, man. I'm glad you brought that up, Quinton. I'm glad we can put that out there. So we will be back next week with who? I don't know who we're going to announce next. We've got 3 or 4 really incredible upcoming guests that we're not sure who's next. So hang tight with us. Just know, like this one, the next 3 are going to be absolutely incredible. So stay tuned for our guest, Sharp Dressed Man Lawrence and Quinton, the Plastic Sheik, and myself. And we've been Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Don't forget.
With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. This has been a James Rock Street production.